Okay, hello everybody and welcome back. So this is chapter 2, it should be module 3. Maybe that was chapter 2, module 3. There must be a typo. Okay, so we are in this module going to be covering the humanistic and learning theories. So the humanistic is theory looks at, which is one of the main theorists in this school would be Abraham Maslow, and he believed that the most important internal drive is motivation to achieve one's full potential. And so there have been some critiques with the humanistic theories that it's more of a philosophy than an actual psychological theory, but he coined the term self-actualization. So it describes the ultimate goal in human life. So he believed that needs and motives needed to be met, like within a hierarchy. So I have here on the next slide the hierarchy of needs. So at the bottom of the hierarchy right here, you see physiological needs. So this would be our physical needs that need to be met. So our need for food, water, sex, oxygen, sleep. So if those needs aren't met, it would be hard to reach your full potential or like that self-actualization. So once your physiological needs are met, the next level of the pyramid is our safety needs. So this is the need for a safe, stable environment. So if you think about young children and development, so young children, in order for them to reach their full potential, they need their physical needs met. Right. So first they need, which we're going to talk about, like proper diet and nutrition and exercise and things like that. And then they need to feel safe. So they need to feel like safe in their environment. So they need safe housing, things like that. Then the next set of needs are like our need for love and belonging. So in order to reach our full potential, we need to feel that we're loved, that we belong, that need for affection with others, peers, friendships. The next level in the hierarchy is our esteem needs. So this is the need to gain superiority, self-respect, so to kind of like feel good about ourselves and to feel respected by other people around us. And only then, once all of those needs are met, can you reach the top of the pyramid, which is self-actualization. So the next theory that we're going to talk about are learning theories. So again, when we go through all of these theories, because I know it can be really overwhelming if you're new to psychology, remember you're thinking of key words. So with our biological theory, it's our genes, our hormones, our nervous system, and how that influences development. With evolution, it's how we've evolved and adapted and how that influences development. With our psychoanalytic theory, it's like the unconscious, internal motives and desires. And then with learning theories, it's looking at how we can like reward and punish, and how our learning is like shaped by what's going on in our environment. So the learning theory would say that we focus on how experiences and in the environment shape the child. So human behavior is seen as being shaped by the environment through processes such as classical and operant conditioning. So I'm going to explain which each one of those are. So in classical conditioning, Ian Pavlov believed, and he studied classical conditioning, so he believed that you could, or I guess we'll kind of go with what his study was. So we'll talk about a little bit about it. So if you've ever heard of Pavlov, you might have heard of Pavlov and the dog. So what Pavlov did was he classically conditioned dog. So before he fed dog food. So when dogs see food, if anyone in this class is a dog lover or they have pets, they may notice that when they present the dog with food or with a treat, a dog will naturally start to salivate. So every time before he presented a dog with food, he would ring a bell, and he did that enough times that dogs naturally started to salivate before their food was even presented. So I'm going to see if I have any more stuff. I don't. So I'll tell you my example of classical conditioning. So if all of you want to go see a picture of my puppy, he's on my Instagram page. And today I'm recording this, and it's, I think, National Dog Day. Anyway, so shout out to my dog Remington. He's the best. But he's now 9 years old. But when I first got him, I was a university student. I was living in Thunder Bay, and he is like such a baby. He does not like the cold weather. And there was a week where it was like minus 40 every single day. And it was so freezing cold. And he like didn't even want to go outside to go to the washroom. But he was still a puppy at that time, and he was really, really hyper when he was a puppy. And so the way my apartment was set up was my bathroom door opened into my living room. And so he needed to burn off some energy. So every time I was blow drying my hair, I would tell him to get his ball and bring it to me, and I would throw the ball and he would catch it and fetch, because he's a lab. He loves to play fetch. And so all of a sudden I noticed that every time I started, so I did this for like about a week because it was really cold. And then after that, every time I turned on my blow dryer, he would go and get his ball and he would bring it to me because he's like, it's playtime. And so that is my example of classical conditioning. So prior to that experience, he didn't care about the blow dryer. Like when I do my hair, he would just hang out. But then after I did that enough times, he started pairing the idea of blow dryer equals playtime. So that's my example of classical conditioning. Skinner proposed a theory called operant conditioning. So he believed that learning was a result of the consequences that the action or the behavior brought. So he believed there was two different types of things that could happen. So if you want to increase the likelihood of the behavior to occur again, then you would use some sort of reinforcement. So that would be either positive or negative. So positive reinforcement means adding a consequence. Negative reinforcements means taking something away. That increases the likelihood of the behavior happening again. So for example, I have a 3-year-old. We're working on potty training. Every time he goes, like when he first started potty training, every time he went pee on the potty, he would get some Smarties, right? So that's to encourage him to continue to do that. Punishment, you would use punishment to decrease the probability of the behavior happening again. So say I have 2 busy boys, Micah hits his brother. So then he gets a timeout. So that's a punishment. So I'm adding something that will hopefully decrease the likelihood that he's going to hit his brother again in the future. So that's what Skinner believes. So you could either increase the behavior's frequency or decrease the behavior based on the consequence that follows. And that is the end of Module 3.